Love English Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Love English Podcast. We are here to help you learn English for your real life in a simple and natural way. I'm your host, Leo.
And I'm Emma. It's so wonderful to be here with you all. This is a safe space for you to learn, so we will always speak slowly and explain everything. Leo, I saw a beautiful new coat in a store window today, but I didn't buy it.
Oh, really? Why not? Was it not your style?
It was perfectly my style, but it was too expensive. I'm trying to save money right now, so I had to walk away. And this brings us to our very interesting and sometimes difficult topic for today, how to talk about money and budgeting.
This is such an important topic. We all deal with money every single day, but it can be a very sensitive topic. Sensitive means it can make people feel uncomfortable or emotional. In many Western cultures, including American culture, personal money is very private.
That's a crucial point to start with. So today, we will teach our listeners the simple words to talk about money, but also how to talk about it politely. So let's start with the key word you just used, Leo. You said you are trying to save money.
Yes, to save money means to keep money for the future, not spend it. You might be saving money for a specific goal or just for a rainy day. For a rainy day is a great idiom. It means saving for a time in the future when you might have an unexpected problem.
I love that idiom. So a great way to talk about this is to use the word budget. What is a budget, Leo?
A budget is a plan for your money. It's a plan for how much you will spend and how much you will save each month. It's a very important tool for managing your finances. Finances is a general word for matters involving money.
So if you are being careful with your spending, you can say, I'm on a budget, or I'm on a tight budget, which means you have to be very, very careful with your money.
Exactly. So if a friend invites you to an expensive restaurant, but you are saving money, you don't have to say, I have no money. That can feel a little negative. Instead, you can politely say, oh, that sounds fun, but it's not in my budget right now.
It's not in my budget right now. That is a perfect, polite phrase. It explains the situation without giving too many details. So, what are the parts of a budget? A budget starts with your income. Your income is the money you receive, usually from your job.
That's right. And the other part of a budget is your expenses. Expenses are the things you spend money on, the money that goes out.
There are different kinds of expenses. First, you have fixed expenses. These are the costs that are the same every month. They don't change. Can you give some examples, Leo?
Sure. The biggest fixed expense for most people is rent or a mortgage. Rent is the money you pay each month to live in a house or apartment that you don't own. You also have your monthly bills, like your electricity bill, your water bill, your phone bill, and your internet bill. These are all fixed expenses.
Okay, so rent and bills are fixed expenses. What about the other kind?
The other kind is variable expenses. Variable means they can change each month. This is where you have more control. What are some examples of variable expenses, Emma?
The biggest one is usually groceries, which is the food you buy at the supermarket. You can spend more or less on groceries each month. Other examples are transportation, like gas for your car or subway tickets, and then there's entertainment.
Entertainment is a big category. This includes things like going to the movies, eating at restaurants, buying new clothes, or going on vacation. This is usually the first area people try to cut back on when they want to save money.
Exactly. You cut back on entertainment. To cut back on something means to reduce it. So I could say, I'm trying to cut back on eating out so I can save more money.
That's a great example. Let's talk about the words we use for the price of things. The most basic words are expensive and cheap. Expensive means it costs a lot of money. Cheap means it costs very little money.
Sometimes the word cheap can have a slightly negative meaning, like the quality is also bad. A more neutral word for something that doesn't cost a lot of money is inexpensive.
That's a good point. And what if something is not expensive, but not super cheap either? It's a good price for what you get.
You could say it's affordable or reasonable. Affordable means you have enough money to buy it without a problem. Reasonable means the price seems fair. For example, I found a great t-shirt. It was only $10. It was very affordable.
Okay, so we have expensive, cheap, inexpensive, affordable, and reasonable. That's a great toolkit for describing prices. Now let's talk about some sensitive areas. What is something you should almost never ask a friend or coworker in American culture?
You should not ask, how much money do you make? Or what is your salary? Your salary is the amount of money your company pays you for your work. This is considered very private information.
It is very private. Asking this question is usually seen as rude. People do talk about their salaries, but it's only usually with very close family, like their husband or wife. It's not a casual conversation topic.
Another sensitive topic can be debt. Debt is money that you owe to someone else, like a bank. For example, many students have student loan debt to pay for college. It's not a topic you would bring up at a party.
So the rule is to focus on your own money situation. Talk about your own budget and your own goals. Don't ask your friends about their specific numbers.
So let's talk about financial goals. We talked about my goal to save for a trip to Japan. That's a financial goal.
It is. A financial goal is a goal that involves money. My goal to buy an apartment is also a financial goal. It requires a lot of saving. What are some other common financial goals?
A common short-term goal is to pay off a credit card bill. To pay off means to pay back all the money you owe. A medium-term goal might be to save up for a new car. To save up for something means to save money for a specific purpose.
And a very important long-term goal is saving for retirement. Retirement is the time in your life when you stop working, usually when you are older. You need to save money your whole life so you have money to live on when you retire.
This is a huge topic, but let's bring it back to a simple, everyday conversation. Let's do a role play. We are friends, and we are talking about our plans for the summer.
Okay, I'll start.
Leo, summer is just a few months away. Do you have any plans for a vacation?
Oh, I would love to go on vacation. But to be honest, I need to save some money first. I'm on a pretty tight budget these days.
Oh, I understand completely. I'm trying to watch my spending too. To watch your spending is another way to say you're being careful with money. So, are you saving up for anything special?
I am. I'm trying to pay off my student loans a little faster, so I've been cutting back on some things. I'm making coffee at home instead of buying it every day, and I'm trying to cook more instead of eating out.
That's so smart. Those little expenses really add up. I'm doing something similar. I want to save up for a new laptop. My current one is so old and slow. To add up means the small costs combine to become a large cost.
A new laptop is a great goal. They can be so expensive, so it's a good idea to save for it. Have you started looking at different models?
A little bit. I found one I like that is pretty affordable, but it's still a big purchase. So for now, I'm just putting some money aside each month.
To put money aside is another great phrase for to save money. That's the way to do it. Well, maybe we can't go on a big vacation, but we could plan a fun, cheap weekend activity, like having a picnic in the park.
I love that idea. That is definitely in my budget. It's a date.
And scene. That was a perfect conversation. We were both honest about our financial situations without sharing any private numbers. We were supportive of each other's goals, and we found a solution that worked for both of our budgets.
I agree. So let's do a final summary for our listeners. Remember that money is a sensitive topic. It's best to talk about your own experiences and goals, not to ask others about theirs.
Learn the key vocabulary: budget, income, expenses, bills. For your goals, you can save money, save up for something, or pay off debt. And when you spend, you can cut back on some things.
And if you need to say no to an invitation, a polite phrase is, "I'd love to, but it's not in my budget right now." People will always understand.
I think our listeners are now ready to have these important real-world conversations. It's a big part of becoming fluent and independent in a new country.
Thank you all for joining us on this very practical episode of the Love English podcast. We hope it helps you manage your money and your conversations with confidence.
We'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Love English Podcast. Remember, every minute you spend learning English is an investment in your future. Keep learning and see you in the next episode.